That's scary fast. And quite a lot of air. Whoa, yeah. Wow. Wowza. Oh.
I love my Whyte E150S, but after 6.5 years and over 5,000 miles, it's time to start thinking about a new bike. So I've arranged with Wetrocknride, and I'm going to be riding the Scott Voltage 910. Let's have a see how I get on.
So here we go. First few yards on the Scott Voltage 910. 50 Newton meters of torque. Is that going to be a problem? I don't particularly think so. We'll find out when we do some bigger hills, but I'm toddling along here. Comfortable speed over the speed limiter, and it's comfortable. It does feel a lot lighter than the Whyte. We'll see how we get on some different terrain. And one thing you notice straight away, you can't hear the motor. It's almost silent. So this is a road section into a headwind, 16 miles an hour, so I'm over the limiter. It does roll well. So we're approaching a very steep hill climb now. On the Whyte, always have to pop it into turbo. In the medium power range at the minute. Put the full power on. Well, that wasn't too bad. It's a lot easier to get through narrow gates. Right. First proper climbing test. So I'll put it in full power. Got up there fairly easily. Drop it back down again to normal. I'm going to loose the suspension. Drop the seat. Go full squish. So this next section is the type of thing where the lighter e-bike might be quite good. It's a bit more nimble, and with 29-inch wheels it should go very nicely.
And from Thought Fuels, I ended up going all the way to Hurworthburn Reservoir and back down again. A grand total of 18 miles, 682 feet, and surprisingly, 80% of the battery. Let's see how I get on at Hamsterley tomorrow.
Here we are then, back out on the Scott Voltage. Come to Hamsterley today to do something a bit more like what I'm planning to use my new bike for. At the minute, in the lowest possible mode, and on this type of stuff, absolutely fine. I'm going to climb up to the Skills Loop. I'll have to instantly put it into full power and spinning along at 7 miles an hour. And the second part of the climb, doing 11 miles an hour, I'm going to throw back into the middle power range. Use 4% battery to get to the top of the Skills Loop. Alright, let's drop into the Skills Loop, see what it's like doing real mountain bike stuff. Taking up those rocks nicely. fast round the corner. Oh, jumps nicely. Good. Here comes the good stuff. That's fine. Now this is going to be really interesting. Always good not to fall off when you've got an audience. Hi guys. Hi. So this is in the mid mode. Yeah, that's fine. Having a little cruise along the forest drive, heading towards Squirrel Chaser. Currently bimbling along 13 miles an hour in the medium power setting. So I've done the Skulls Lift a couple of times, and you can see how much suspension I've used on the Fox 36s. And you can also see that doing 2 little loops of the Skills and riding up to Squirrel Chaser, I've used 14% of the battery. So we're going to have 1 loop of this, get back to here, see how much we use on the full loop. Right, here we go, time for the first balloon descent. Definitely feel the difference in weight. Even I can pop over those a little bit. Big lean. Three rock steps.
Right, time for a race.
First I'll try this on the 29.
These 6 switchbacks are always a good test, and as you can see straight away the Whyte is fast out of the corners. What I do like about the big motor is you can almost stall in the corners and then use the power to zoom out. The voltage is pretty good, but I think the technique would probably be to go down an extra gear or 2 and then use your own manual power to get out. Either way, both bikes are great going uphill. I think with a bit of practice you'd get even better on the lighter bike. It's a no-brainer the Whyte was going to win this climb, but I think the voltage did very, very well. It was also great seeing this group of kids getting coached.
Thanks guys!
Wish I'd started when I was that age. Might be able to pop a wheelie.
Right, here comes that part of the trail. Yep. Okay, time for a side-by-side comparison. It's time for a drag race from the speed bump to the next speed bump. In 3, 2, 1, go!
And although the Whyte won the sprint, the Voltage, with its lighter weight and bigger wheels, did the full forest drive faster than the Whyte ever has.
We're coming into the best bit of the trail. Right then, this is it, make or break time. Just leaving Grove car park, 56% battery. Will I still like the bike when I get to the top? Right, that's the climb done, from 56% battery down to 36%. So I've got to admit, I'm looking forward to this. Oh yes, that was good. Hard brake. Yep. Whoa, yeah. Wow. Wowza. Oh. Wow. Oh boy, that was something else. That really was good. Right. Let's go up and do it again. Okay, I've got to admit, that was awesome. So, going to do it again. Use 10% battery, doing one loop up and down K-line. That's scary fast. Big lean, few pedals. And quite a lot of air. Hard on brakes, Strava line, another Strava line. Hop! Over the jump. Yep. Big lean. Whee. Definitely not risking the bottom bracket on a demo bike. Oh, that was a nice jump. Right, we'll try accelerator again. I've half locked the suspension this time, so a bit firmer. See if I can get a bit more flow. It's definitely a bit faster. Right, normally I just carry straight and on accelerator, but today we'll do another time trial. Slow down a little bit, off the brakes, and away we go again. Right, 11% battery to do forest drive back to the car. %6 battery left. Right, before we make any decisions, I think it's only appropriate that we just have a little go on the Whyte, see what the comparison is. Right, we are just going to do squirrel chaser because, to be honest, my legs are toast.
Okay, time for another race. This time on the final descent on Squirrel Chaser. Now, I've got to admit I'm a little bit surprised at the result of this. The voltage felt really fast, but on the Whyte I got a personal best on all the way from the first descent, up the climb and back down the second descent. After 2 days of riding, here are my thoughts on the Scott Voltage Eride 910. It's a well-spec'd bike for the money, with Shimano Dior components, Fox suspension and the TQ50 motor and 360 watt-hour battery. I like the brakes, which had great stopping power without being harsh. I love the Fox suspension. The rear shock is inside the body frame, which keeps it away from all that winter mud and summer dust. The Fox 36 Sport was very plush in the travel, while being stiff, leaning into those tight berms. The Scott dual lock was fantastic, with it being a low power motor. Being able to stiffen the ride for climbing or locking it out for the road sections was really useful, with helping preserve the battery. The 12-speed transmission was really nice as well. I didn't require the granny ring, but that would have been very handy on a long grind of a climb. The bike itself is really light, around 20 kg, compared to my Whyte, which is at least 27, and it felt really fast on Hamsterley's red trails. I equalled my PB on transmission, and was a little surprised the fun I had on K-line didn't equal a faster time, but my god, it did feel fast. Speaking of which, the death grip bombing down from accelerator section was also a PB, and I'm now the 5th fastest ever. I did have a couple of KOMs on the rail trails that I've done dozens of times too. The battery was quick to recharge. I reckon I put in nearly 70% in an hour, and you can get the range extender for an extra 160 kilowatt hours. That gives you options to increase your riding. If you had a portable power bank in the car, you could almost double your range while you had a lunch break, but neither option is cheap and requires you to do shorter loops rather than a long tour. As at February 2026, you can pick this bike up at around £4,200, which is pretty good value for money. So, will I be getting one? Well, no. I liked the bike, but I didn't love it. Had I done Hamsterley as the first ride, I might have had a harder decision to make because it was really good going downhill and better than expected going up. However, the first day's ride was really flat and used over 80% of the battery in 18 miles, and it gave me a lot of range anxiety for day 2. The next version of the bike will have the 60 Nm motor and a 400 Wh battery, which would make a difference, but no doubt with a price tag to match. If you were coming from analogue, gravel or road, you would be blown away by this bike, but power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, and I did miss the grunt that the extra torque gives you, particularly powering out of corners and grinding away up steep, steady climbs. I need to give a big shout out to Paul and the team at Wetrocknride for arranging the demo and getting me a great deal on the bike I did choose. To find out what I'm getting, keep tuned. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to view the next adventures on the channel.
A lorry went into the bridge last week. This is a temporary fix at the weekend. Don't drop it and make a big splash.